Hello everyone and welcome to CodeBits. Apologies for the hiatus there. I did have quite a few projects to do this year and unfortunately I wasn't able to make any videos, but I am back and thanks to everyone who subscribed, and now you'll be able to see that I'm making a new video now. So that's awesome. So just before we get started, please make sure if you do like this video to smash that like button. It really does help get these tutorials in the hands of a lot more people so that everyone can sort of learn Python and join us in this tutorial today. Anyway, so without further ado, I'm just going to speak a little bit about the couple of modules that we will be discussing today. So the first one is the Yahoo Finance. This is actually a fix created by Rusi, which is absolutely fantastic. He's essentially fixed Yahoo Finance effectively because they recently decommissioned their API, I think about a year ago, and he has been able to essentially fix this by basically scraping their data, which is brilliant. So we will be using this in this video here. So if you haven't already, make sure that you do install it. He has instructions on this page right here at pypy.org/project/yfinance. The second module that we will be using in this video is Pandas. It's a fantastic data analysis tool, but it's also what we will be using as an override. So we will be using Pandas for our data structures, specifically the data frame we'll be using. So if you haven't already as well with this, if you don't have a sort of distribution like Anaconda, make sure you go over to Pandas at pandas.pydata.org, follow their installation tutorials as well. It does require a few dependencies, but you should be able to get those quite easily. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Data acquisition using Yahoo Finance and Pandas. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is install those modules that I previously spoke about. So if you haven't already, make sure to install those modules. I'm going to be assuming that you have. So the first thing that I want to be using is a module called datetime. This should already be included in your base sort of Python installations or distributions, especially if you're using Python 3.6 like I am. The second thing that I want to be importing is Yahoo Finance. So I'm going to be importing this as YF. It just makes things a lot easier if you define them as short names, which is what I'm doing here. It just makes things a lot more concise and makes things easier to read. So the second thing that I'm going to be importing is pandas data reader.data. Now you could do this as import pandas data reader.data, right? And then you'd get all of those things. However, we only specifically want data, and we want to be calling this something else. So what we can do is we can say from pandas data reader import data as PDR. Just another short name that I'm calling data. Makes things a bit easier, a bit more concise from a reading point of view. Another thing that we do need to do here is we do need to override the Yahoo Finance module for Pandas data reading. So we do need to make sure that Pandas can actually read our Yahoo Finance data. So we'll be using yf.pdr override. So effectively, in order to acquire data, so the first things first is that we're going to be doing time series data. So in order to do this, we actually need to specify a start and an end date for our time series data. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll be using the date time module to do that. So start end equals date time dot date time, and let's go all the way back to 1981 off. It's quite a common date and it works quite well. And we'll use today's date as our end point there as well. So this is quite a Pythonic way of doing our start and end date. So once we've specified our start and end date, effectively we're using this in order to take a start point and an end point for our time series data. Okay, cool. So the next thing that we need to define as well is a ticker. So let's call this MSFT, Microsoft. Okay, so once we've done our ticker, now we effectively just need to define our data. So data equals pdr.get Yahoo, no, data Yahoo, and ticker, start, and our end dates. Awesome. So now we've defined our data, we can effectively print this, and this should actually print our pandas data frame. So effectively our data will be a PDR or pandas data frame, getting Yahoo data with our ticker, start, and end dates. And awesome, there we go. We can see on our debug screen here that we've got for between 1986 and 2019. Effectively, if a company doesn't go before 1986 or whatever date it is, if you've specified, if I made this 1920 or something like that, it'll just go to its earliest point of company data that Yahoo's got. effectively. Awesome. Okay, so now we've actually got our data here. What if we just wanted to close data? So we've got open, high, low, close, adjusted, close volume. What if we just wanted to close? Well, we can actually specify our column index. So we can specify close and print data. And this will just print our close data. And there we go. So this is just the close, as you can see before. There are actually a couple of cool other things that you can do with the Yahoo Finance module. It does have things like financial data, cash flow, dividends, and information about it. Just as a quick example, I will show you the dividends and information. So the first couple of things are, let's just write dividends and info is equal to tick. So we actually need to define a tick first of all. So this is actually quite important. Let's do this up here. So tick equals yf.ticker, tickler, ticker, there we go. So this effectively defines an object called tick that has a bunch of different functions. And these functions are things like the financials, the cash flow, the info, the dividends, a few different things, but we can effectively see them right here. So we've got actions, balance sheet, cash flow, dividends, financials, get actions, get cash flow, history, info, options, option chains, splits, all these kinds of things, which we can call. For this particular one, we will just be calling dividends and info. And that should essentially assign these pieces of information to these with their various structs. The good thing about Python as opposed to C++, C# is that you don't actually have to define what structures they are ahead of time. So you don't have to know what structures they are going in. It will just automatically assign that variable to that particular structure. Now to end things off, what I'll do is I'll print our data. So what I'll do is I'll close that. Now I'll print our data. New line, dividends, new line, and info, new line. Now this should effectively print everything. So it should print our data, have a line split, dividends, have a line split, and then the info, and then a line split. So here we go. So we've got our data here, which I've taken away the close thing, just to have all of the data there. It has our dividends right here. So this is our dividend data, and you can see there's a line break there, and then our information. So our information's down here. I should have actually specified a couple of different line breaks between the dividends and the info, because the dividends does have this short piece of information here, which effectively got rid of that line break. But that's okay. Anyway, and here's the information down here. So we've got the symbol, you've got things like the forward PE, 200-day average, 50-day average, things like that, shares outstanding, all of that kind of stuff. All of that juicy things that you can use for your financial, your cash flow, your data analysis, your time series data analysis, for fundamental information, and for your technical information as well, if you do need that sort of stuff. Anyway, so this is just a quick tutorial about financial data acquisition using Python and using finance as well as pandas. So you can use all of this kind of stuff to actually manipulate this data to determine things such as the Zeman alt score or things like that, using this sort of financial information. What I'll probably be doing is a subsequent tutorial about data analysis using this sort of thing. So how to manipulate this data from these data frames, how to transform this information, how to plot this information, maybe things like that in subsequent tutorials. If you are excited about learning about that sort of stuff, make sure you smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you can be notified when I do release a new video, and make sure to hit that like button so other people can get this information as well. Anyway guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you guys learned a lot. This code will as always be commented and be up on my GitHub very shortly, as well as links to Yahoo Finance and Pandas in the description below. So if you need to get those, go ahead and take a look. As well as a link to my Discord channel as well. So if you guys do need some help getting started with coding, make sure to join my Discord channel. I'm always happy to discuss things coding and coding related, whether it's Python, C++, C#, Java, any sort of different programming language. I have quite a lot of experience in those sort of things as well. So if you do need any help, make sure to join the CodeBits Discord channel. And as always, guys, have an awesome one.